Hi, guys. Welcome to my Tuesday Talks. My name is Uma, and I'm the CEO of the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center. I want to give you guys a heads up that every time you guys see me do these free talks available on my YouTube channel, The Lotus and the Light, you will always see me looking here, and looking here. That is because I stream to multi-destinations. So big shout out to YouTube. That's where I primarily stream. And hello, Instagram. I hope that you guys are enjoying these talks and conversations. And big shout out, of course, to my lovely TikTok fans, followers, and friends that I've made along the way. I like doing these talks on Tuesday talks, because I have a wealth of knowledge. And I need to start sharing that knowledge with you guys. Do you agree or disagree? And the reason why I said that is because I have been on social media for a long time, like most of you, and I'm getting tired of the influx of information from untrained people. I'm trained. All right. So a little bit about my background for those of you that are meeting me for the first time. Like I said, my name is Uma. I am the CEO of my own metaphysical wellness center called the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Wellness Center. You can definitely look it up, or visit my website, thelotusandthelight.com. And I have been in spiritual development for 20 years, and I have had my center for 15 years. So do the math, right? Do the math. I have studied various modalities in metaphysical education. And one of them we're going to be talking about today, which is Ayurveda. I am a certified Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant. And Ayurveda, it's so close to my heart. And I really hope that you guys fall in love with Ayurveda by the time I'm done with this talk and seek to incorporate it into your life. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I hope that you guys are excited to be here with me the way I'm excited to be here with you. So let's jump right in by asking, what is Ayurveda? Got my little cheat sheet here. This is actually a handout from my classes. I have an annual program where I mentor up and coming developing light workers. And I have the next one is coming up January 2025. It's called the Sacred Lotus Self-Exploration Program. Right now, it is only in person at my center, but I think I might also run an online version to it. Touch base with those of you that are not close to Northern Virginia and that might be interested in taking the event, the classes as well. So that aside, this handout is from one of my classes in that program. Okay, so Ayurveda is the traditional medicine and healing system of India. It literally translates to science of life. It is one of the oldest healthcare systems in the world, going back over 5,000 years into the Vedic era. Ayurveda has had a strong influence on many systems of medicine throughout the world. Chances are you actually practice some home healthcare, home remedies that came from Ayurveda, right? So who here has heard of oil pulling? Where you take oil, you gargle it in your mouth for a minute, before you brush your teeth in the morning. That came from Ayurveda. What about meditation, yoga, all associated with Ayurvedic practices? Fasting, right? Doing like an oil massage, cleansing your skin, using like a detox brush. All of these things come from Ayurveda. Debbie, Debbie knows from TikTok. Debbie from TikTok knows. So I have been fortunate enough to grow up with Ayurvedic principles because of my East Indian heritage. Now, I say it that way because some of you might look at me and say, oh, she's Indian. Well, not quite. I have Indian ancestors from India. I was blessed to grow up in the beautiful country of Guyana, South America. So just a little diversion here. In South America, in Guyana, we're called the land of six races because a lot of people came to our country either through slavery or indentured laborers. So you can find Chinese, African, Indian descent, Portuguese descent, European descent people in Guyana, our forefathers, of course, tracing back to the mother countries. So because I have East Indian heritage, my family practiced a lot of East Indian traditions, right? Rituals in my household, as I'm sure all of you have your own rituals your family has passed down. So I was blessed since childhood to grow up with these beautiful at-home remedies and holistic remedies that have continued on in my life. And I have also shared with my children, and hopefully they will share with their children too, right? So I wanted to talk about Ayurveda because the most important thing right now is our healthcare system. And when I say now, I'm talking about right now in America, where I currently reside. In America, the healthcare system has been talked about, talked about for their lack of patient care, right? Their lack of treatments in terms of financial, there's financial burden on people who have to undergo treatments. There is people that are just getting sicker and sicker and they're not getting better. There's a lot of people with pain or diseases or illnesses that cannot be diagnosed by the current healthcare system. So I thought today would be a really good day to talk about Ayurveda and what the principles of Ayurveda are. Now, I am, like I said, a certified Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant. So if my talk moves you, and after this talk, you want to meet with me, and you're probably like, what does that look like, Uma? Like, what do I do? Do I book a session? Do I come in? Is it a massage? Right? I offer 30-minute Ayurvedic consultations to anyone who, you don't have to be in person with me. These are usually done on the phone or through Zoom. But what we do is we try to figure out where your imbalances are and create a plan of action for your lifestyle so that you can bring yourself in balance. And I have to tell you, this is so helpful. And I recently had to do it for myself. Another reason why I chose this topic for conversation today. We just started a new month, September. It's Tuesday, September 3rd, whenever you're watching this. And September is usually associated with the incoming fall energy because we have the fall equinox coming up in a couple of weeks. And usually during the fall equinox, a lot of people in the spiritual community start their detox plans. Well, we start it before the fall equinox because we want to get our bodies, our minds, our spirit right. So when the equinox comes in, we are ready for the next season. Do you guys do that? Does anybody do that? Or is that just spiritual people, light workers, healers? I assume everybody's doing it. I know I do it. I've actually been on a detox for 4 weeks now. Like I said, getting ready for the incoming fall equinox. But the reason why, again, I wanted to talk about this topic today is because I got really sick about a month ago. And I experienced like a stomach ailment. It was kind of like a stomach flu. And I was, going through all the vomiting and diarrhea and feeling sick and weak and not having any energy. And I realized that, okay, Majesty said she's currently detoxing. That is so good to know. This is going to be so helpful for you right now. And the reason why I wanted to do this talk is because a couple weeks ago, I got really sick and I realized like I have been living out of whack. I was drinking too much, Uma loves that wine. And I was eating a lot of junk food and I wasn't sleeping enough. And I definitely was not meditating or doing my spiritual practices. My whole life was out of whack. And I felt like my body was resisting, rejecting, bullying me, if you will, into, you know what, we got to do better and we got to be better. So I did. After I got well, I started to do my detox practices that I've learned in Ayurveda. And I have to tell you, one, I'm 16 pounds lighter and I feel amazing. But two, I feel better. I feel peaceful and calm. I feel happy and joyful. I feel like that reset was exactly what I needed. And I thought, we're moving into September. We are getting ready for this changeover of seasons. And I'm pretty sure there's people going through this too that might be helped by my conversation here today. So that was the point of me bringing up this topic for conversation. So the first thing I want to do is talk about Ayurveda and why it is different from other healthcare systems, and why, in my opinion, right? Because remember, I'm an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, I'm a metaphysical teacher, spiritual mentor. So I have my own opinions, but please remember, this is not factual or based on any sort of factual research besides from my studies and what I've learned about Ayurveda, why I feel Ayurveda is the best healthcare system and why we should be implementing it into our lives. Now, I have to do a disclaimer because I am on a social media platform talking to thousands of you. And I just want to remind you that Ayurveda, by no shape, way, means, should replace your medical care, your medical team, your doctors, your medical practitioners. If anything, I found that Ayurveda works really well in tandem with the healthcare system. Okay. So if you are somebody who's into being proactive, is anybody into being proactive? I know I am, right? It's better to prevent than to cure, right? That's the understanding of being proactive. And I feel like if you can do these practices or incorporate them into your life or even start thinking about them, you might start to see a change around. And then that should keep you healthier and more peaceful, calm, and content. And then that should keep, you in a healthy place, which should help you avoid having to go to the medical system, the hospitals, and things like that. But again, let's see. All right, let's start sharing this information. So like I said, Ayurveda has had a strong influence on many systems of medicine throughout the world. For instance, did you know that Ayurvedic herbs and formula have appeared in TCM texts? TCM is traditional Chinese medicine. And there is an Ayurvedic form of acupuncture that predates acupuncture. Now, that's not unknown to people who practice Ayurveda because, a lot of traditional Chinese medicine was based on the Buddha and the Buddha's teachings. And remember, the Buddha did originate from India. So he brought with him his teachings and learnings that he learned in India. Do you know that Ayurveda is also the basis of Tibetan medicine? Like I said, the Buddha was an avid follower of Ayurveda, and he brought all the knowledge and teachings with him to Tibet. Also, there are many similarities between Greek medicine and Ayurveda, most notably that treatment is constitutionally based. And we're going to get into that about the constitutions because in Ayurveda, we have 3 constitutions that everybody falls under. So you will either be Kapha, Pitta, or Vata, or a combination of those 3, right? And that's the job of an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant. Is we have this questionnaire, this quiz, we ask you questions, we tally it up, and we see where your strong points are. So for instance, even though I look Kapha, because I'm a heavier person with heavier, body type, I'm actually a Vata energy. So when I look at my daily life, I have to follow the Vata principles. Like for instance, my appetite is sparse, like a bird. So I cannot eat 3 square meals a day. I was trying to do it and I got really heavy, right? I actually eat 1 to 2 meals a day, and I eat within an 8 hour period. So it's intermittent fasting. So I actually don't have my first meal of the day until 2 p.m. in the afternoon, which might seem very crazy to a lot of you. But this is what I love about Ayurveda is that once you find out what your constitution is, and then you can create your plan for your life and your schedule that works for you. Like if I was to tell you guys my whole schedule based off of my Vata energy, you'd be like, that's off. That's weird. That may not even be healthy. But I have to tell you, I sleep great. I feel good in my body. I'm getting my energy back, and I feel peaceful, content, and balance. And that is what Ayurveda seeks to do, is to bring that peace in. We call it sattva, that sattvic mindset, that sattvic lifestyle where you're constantly in peace. All right. That's the whole point. So, did you know that Ayurveda is a health system that is recognized by the World Health Organization? And it is rapidly becoming more known in the West as a form of proactive medicine. It is one of the most comprehensive healing systems in the world because it addresses the body, the mind, and the spirit. And this is how it differs from the different medical systems available today. This is the main reason why I feel Ayurveda is the best healthcare system out there, because it addresses the mind, the body, the spirit. In fact, I would go so far, now I don't know all the healthcare systems out there, but I would go so far as to say it is probably the only healthcare system that addresses the mind, the body, the spirit. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, that may be it and everything, but I identify with that because sometimes when I go to the doctor, they tell me there's nothing wrong with me, but I know there's something wrong with me. So am I making this up in my head, or do I have a condition that has not yet been diagnosed? What is it, right? I find that Ayurvedic treatments and Ayurvedic lifestyle tends to be helpful, especially for people like that, because sometimes your body, your mind, your spirit are out of whack. They're not in communication with each other. And then when we have that, it creates an imbalance in your lifestyle. And that imbalance can be remedied by simply coming back into balance. Okay, so that's the main thing I want to point out about Ayurveda. But let's compare it to other healthcare systems and see how Ayurveda holds up. So the first system I want to talk about is the modern biochemical medicine system. So this type of medicine is available in most Western countries. And despite it being the most sophisticated in terms of its methods and healing techniques, do you know it is also the basis form of medicine? In this model, we only treat the body mechanically, like repairing a machine without regard for the mental or spiritual aspect of a body. This system also relies heavily on the use of inorganic substances, drugs, surgery, or other invasive treatment methods without changes to lifestyle or awareness of a patient. It only considers the physical body for treatment. So that's why we consider it in Ayurveda the basis form of treatment, because it doesn't take into account the person has a mind, the person has spiritual energy. It only looks at the person as a body. And how many of you have felt that way, right? When you go to the doctor, you go to the ER, you go to the hospital, you feel like you're not even acknowledged. They just poke at your body, they're treating your body, and sometimes they don't even pay attention to you, whether you're in pain or not, right? It's very, very unsettling to have a group of people around you treating you and no one paying attention to you or how you feel or what's happening with you. So this type of medicine is mostly practiced in the Western world, but it's considered the basis form because one, it only treats the body. And then two, a lot of the practices are what? Intrusive, you know? Yes, it's morbid practices happens in Guyana. Exactly. I can imagine, Guyana being a third world country, I could imagine that the doctors may not be putting a lot of emphasis on the person and how they feel. So, also to that point about the drugs, right? These are chemicals we are ingesting. And I love to see a drug commercial because they'll say, oh, it heals this, but side effects include, and we've all seen it, right? And it's like, wow, that's a long list of side effects. It sounds like I'm going to be worse off than I started, right? And that's how it makes you feel. So modern biochemical medicine, intrusive, base form of medicine, and like I said, treating the body mechanically, not looking at it's like the looking at the part, not looking at the sum of the whole parts, right? And that could be problematic. Majesty from TikTok said 90% of doctors lack empathy, compassion. It's like they treat animals and not people. That is the main complaint that we hear when people talk about their healthcare visits. Now, of course, let's be realistic, guys. There's wonderful doctors, wonderful people available that actually care about what they're doing. But for the majority of us, when we talk about our surgeries or healing journey, it can be quite traumatic, right? Okay. Number two, you might say, okay, Uma, I agree with you. Biochemical medicine is not it. Ayurveda for the win. But what about naturopathic medicine? All right. Isn't that just as good as Ayurveda or even better? Well, naturopathic medicine, it is better than biochemical medicine because it is organic, natural, keeps the focus on the life force energy within a person. It does emphasize the use of diet, herbs, exercise, lifestyle changes for wellness. Check, check, and check. But it is known as energy medicine for these reasons. There is no concerned effort on the role of pathogens or disease in the body. And that's why, if you're seeing like a naturopathic doctor, they can make all the best recommendations for you to live a proactive, healthy lifestyle. But when you get sick, there is no treatment for you in the naturopathic medicine. You do have to go back to Western medicine for the chemical modality, right? So that's the one downfall about naturopathic medicine. Now, some of you might say, but you mentioned earlier traditional Chinese medicine. What about that? Isn't that like a great healthy alternative as well? Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, comes from mainland China and provides many health benefits as it is naturalistic and energetic. However, TCM does not involve the spiritual body in terms of healing. So many herbal medicines that are created, right, involve the use of meat products, which is disturbing and dulling to the spirit. Ayurvedic is pretty much 100% vegetarian, vegan, if you wish, right? TCM does not consider the energy of consciousness from which the life force comes and through which it alone can be harmonized with the body. So that's the one downfall of TCM. I've heard of if you're impotent, then you could like have shark ball soup. Yes, literally the private parts of a shark, right? And I don't want to knock it. That is their belief. That is their way. But when you're thinking overall holistic health, mind, body, spirit, wellness, we don't tend to use animal products because you have to you have to unalive an animal for those products. And then, it is said through many different cultures that the energy of that animal goes into you, whether that animal died in fear or anger, you embody that energy. Now, I don't want to say too much about, eating animal products and whatnot, because I am an omnivore. I do eat meat and vegetables and vegetarian, but I will say this, the older I get, the more I'm beginning to understand the vegetarian vegan lifestyle, because I'm noticing for myself, I'm 46, about to turn 47, and I'm noticing for myself that when I eat less meat, I feel better. When I eat, let's say on occasion, maybe once a month, once every 2 months, I might have a steak. I notice it is not so easy on my stomach. It takes me a while to digest, and I can only eat half a portion. I can't even eat a full portion. Now, whether that's me, so many people will have so many diagnoses of me, right? Me just saying that. But for the most part, what I say about it is that I feel I'm getting more spiritually in tune with myself and more aligned. And that's why my body is personally rejecting certain things, you know, um, and in cycles. Cause like right now, I have not had any alcohol or soda or, things like that for about a month. And I feel good. Does it mean I'm going to stay off of it? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because my detoxes, it could take a day, a week, a month, a year. We'll see what happens. All right. So that's the one downfall about traditional Chinese medicine. So this is why we bring it back to Ayurveda. Ayurvedic medicine considers the higher energetic pattern of health and disease. It uses the movement towards developing consciousness in regulating health and well-being in people. It is based on spiritual value and sees the attainment of a higher state of consciousness as more important than health or longevity. Wow. Your spirit is the most important thing. Could you imagine? Your spirit is the most important thing. And that is what Ayurveda considers. So let's consider what is the aim of Ayurveda. The aim of Ayurveda can be summed up in the study of the three gunas. So the gunas are the three states that everything exists in, whether it's the universe, whether it's you, whether it's a plant. There is three states that we're always kind of cycling through. Number one is rajas, which means the quality of distraction, turbulence, or activity. It causes outward motion and causes self-seeking action that leads to disintegration. Rajas creates pain and suffering. It is the principle of energy. Now, you might say, oh, that's terrible. I don't want that. That can be part of life, but it is, right? It is. You remember the Big Bang Theory? We were just kind of all here hanging out on a rock. Well, not us, but Earth, right? And then the Big Bang happened, and then life began on this planet, right? So with Rajas, we need to have that frenzy, that activity to kind of stir things to get it going again. And that's why I love Ayurveda, because that was my first realization that all of life is good. Sometimes we want to just have this sattvic lifestyle, right? All peace, kumbaya, but that doesn't exist. You need one of these three states to always be activating so that we can create the lives that we have. Let me talk more about it. So rajas, energy, friction, big bang. Tamas, quality of dullness, darkness, inertia, heavy, obstructing, downward motion causing decay, degeneration, death. Tamas is the principle of materialism. So the thing with tamas is, imagine, like, let's look back at that Big Bang Theory. Before the Big Bang happened, everything was quiet, dull, right? And then the Big Bang happened, and then here we go. So tamas is also needed. And I like to relate that to people when you're just kind of like bored in life. You're laying around, not doing anything, laying on the couch, watching your TV shows and whatnot. That's part of life. That's also needed. That's your rest, because we also have the third gunas, which is sattva. This is what we all aim for: stability, harmony, virtue, or being. It is said to be light in nature and luminous, inward, upward movement, and brings about the awakening and development of the soul. Sattva gives happiness, and it is the principle of intelligence. So That's the state everybody wants to be in, right? Sattvic state. You want to be peaceful, harmonious, happy, calm. But here's the thing. This is the most important thing I want you guys to take away. You can't live in sattva because then you will get nothing done. Nothing will be done. You have to cycle through rajas, tamas, sattva. And this is what it looks like. Let's say you're unemployed. Okay. So you're in that tamas energy, laying around, bored, nothing to do. And then something stirs you. You know what? I want a life. I want a car. So for me to get a car, I need money. For me to get money, I need a job. Okay, I'm going to go get this job. So now you create this big friction in your life, right? Frenzy, getting ready, buying new clothes, going on job interviews, applying, updating your resume, all this energy. And then finally you get the job. So now we went from tamas, laying around, to rajas, frenzied activity, to sattva. Now you got a job. Now you're making money. Now you're at peace and you're in harmony. So most of you will be like, okay, that's it. End of story. But is that the truth? Because we're still here, right? That's not the truth. The truth is, while you're at that job, the rajas energy, the tamas energy is going to set in. So you're going to get bored at your job. Now, instead of you being bored at home on the couch, you're bored at your job, right? And then you're like, what else can I do? You know what? There's a manager position. That would mean more prestige, more recognition, and more money, more benefits. So now you create the frenzy. Here comes rajas again. And then you get the job. And then there's sattva again. Are you guys following me? Do you understand what I'm saying? The reason why I'm going so heavy into this principle, because Ayurveda is based on this. It is based on the fact that all of us want to reach the sattvic state. We want to reach it and stay there. But chances are it's not going to happen that way, right? At some point, you're going to reach that tamas dull state. At some point, you're going to be in that frenzied rajas state. And it's time for you to get back to your sattva. And that's where you use the Ayurvedic principles, the techniques, the skills, the things you learn to bring yourself back into the sattva state. So I basically summed it all up for you about how Ayurveda works. Now, the gunas, like I said, is the states that we exist in, not just us, the whole of the world, the whole of the universe. And I know you guys have heard the word doshas before, and you want to know what are doshas, because I said it earlier. I said this is how an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant works. We test you, we figure out what your doshas are at, and then we seek to bring you back into balance through using your doshas, right? So dosha is the study of the body and its constitutions. The relationship of the three doshas determine how to best proceed to achieve better health. So according to Ayurveda, there are three primary life forces in the body called doshas. The science of study of doshas is called tridosha, and these are three basic energy types that are found in each of us and correspond to the 5 elements of air, fire, and water. So there's 3: Pitta, Kapha, and Vata. Pitta is the fire responsible for all chemical and metabolic transformations in the body. It governs our mental digestion, our capacity to perceive reality and understand things as they are, right? Now, you might think that's a good thing to have. I want to be Pitta. You do. And some of you are, you have that Pitta energy is dominant in your tridosha makeup system. Nothing wrong with that. However, this is where the Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant comes in. What if your Pitta is overbearing? What if your Pitta is overwhelming? Well, that's when we look to correct it and bring it back into balance. If you have an overactive Pitta, right, you can have, for instance, ulcers. You can have anger issues, right? You can be irritable. So when you're working with an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, you're looking to bring that Pitta back into balance, where you're that intelligent person and you're feeling content. right? Now, kapha is the water element, that which holds things together, gives nourishment, provides substance, gives support. It provides emotional support in life and makes up the bulk of the body. When kapha is balanced in you, you have unconditional love, acceptance, and forgiveness for yourself and everyone involved. When it's unbalanced, you can be experiencing insecurity, envy, amongst other things. And finally, we have vata, the air element, which moves things. Like I said before, I'm a vata personality. It's the prime force of the nervous system as it governs our sensory and mental balance and gives comprehension. If vata is balanced, you have a very creative person full of vitality. If it is unbalanced, you have a person who has a lot of fear and anxiety. So it wasn't a surprise to me that the medical system diagnosed me with a generalized anxiety disorder, because I already knew, and they tried to put me on pills, but I refused because I knew then and there that my vata can get out of control. So I had to create a lifestyle to keep my vata in check so I can keep creating, right? And having that vital force energy, but also taking care of myself and knowing when I'm doing too much. And then that vata energy becomes overbearing. I hope all of this makes sense to you. I'm trying to sum up an ancient healthcare system that has been practiced for over 5,000 years in 30 minutes. I think I'm doing a great job. But basically, what you want to do is you want to learn about your doshas. Now, you can hire somebody like me, an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, to do that for you and then to give you tips on how to create a healthy lifestyle that honors your dosha type. Or if you are self sufficient and self reliant, you can just go online and Google what's my dosha for a free dosha quiz and then figure it out yourself on how to bring your body back into balance. There's no right or wrong way. There's just some people out there that are like, I want a professional to do it. I'm that person. I don't like to do anything myself. I'm like, I want that person to do it. And then they do it. And then I can figure it out after they gave me their recommendations. So that's it. That's my talk for Tuesday's talk today. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that it brought you some information that you feel would help you in bringing your system back into balance. And I feel like now is the best time for you to start working on that, because like I said at the beginning of this talk, we are in September and we are moving into a new season. The fall equinox is right around the corner. So it'd be a great time right now to start your detox practices, use the Ayurvedic principles, change your lifestyle routines right now. So by the time that fall equinox rolls around, you're going to be in a healthy space to welcome it in. If anybody's interested, you live in Northern Virginia and you want to know what I'm doing for the change of seasons, because every change of seasons, I offer different things. I am doing several things. One, this week I have a special, this week being the week of September 3rd, 2024. I don't know when this video is going to be watched, but this week I am offering a 30-minute Ayurvedic consultation. It's through phone or Zoom. I have a questionnaire. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to figure out your dosha type, and then I'm going to give you recommendations based on my knowledge of Ayurveda of what you should be putting into place so that you can create a better lifestyle to bring you back into balance. That can be done over the phone. It's a virtual visit. A 30-minute session is $88. Now, if you are close to my center, the Lotus and the Light in Northern Virginia, you can come in for some sessions. One, I have a 4-week chakra balancing program where I work with you once a week for 4 weeks to get your chakras aligned. You can do reflexology. Reflexology is one of the best energy healing body modalities, body work modalities that seeks to remove the energetic blocks, clear the meridians, get that blood and energy flowing. You can also do that, or you can do a back flower consultation. It's kind of similar to my dosha consultation, where I work with the back flower remedies. I'm certified as a back flower specialist, level 1. And we work with the remedies to figure out where you're off balance in your emotions. I create a special blend for you with the Bach flower essences, and then you take it like once or twice a day for until the bottle runs out. So those are the different things that I'm offering. And I would love to see you guys come in or hit me up and let me know that at least this talk moved you in some kind of way and you're going to do your own practices to get yourself back in balance. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope that this was helpful for you. And of course, if anybody wants to reach out to me to have a consultation to talk about where you are in life and where you plan to go, I do have free, like a first time free 30-minute consultation where you can just tell me about what's going on in your life and I can give you advice as to what your next steps should be. All right. Thanks again so much, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.